Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Jacobs, and you're listening to Juiced Sports Radio. And as much as I hate feeding into the Tim Tebow mania, Tim Tebow's press conference today introducing him as a New York Football Jet is in the books, and it's worth talking about. Because quite frankly, I've never seen a press conference for a backup quarterback attract 150 plus media members. Look, I understand who Tim Tebow is. I understand what he does off the field. I understand his personality, his religious beliefs, the wacky way he quarterbacks, the success he had at the University of Florida, the unbelievable up and downs he had in Denver, including last year when he won 7 of 11 starts, beat the Steelers in the AFC wildcard game, and then was pounded by Belichick and the Patriots. And all of that said, it still isn't worth a press conference. But, as Tim Tebow said, blame my bosses, because it didn't sound like he was the one who wanted this. It's his higher-ups, and obviously when you saw the attention that it attracted today, all the New York media outlets that came out to see this, and national outlets as well, it's a big deal. Will he supplant Mark Sanchez as the starting quarterback of the New York Jets by mid-season or into this coming season? We don't know. Obviously the Jets are saying all the right things in terms of we want Sanchez to be our starting quarterback. Tim Tebow is going to run the Wildcat and other third down goal line formations. We'll see how that works out for them. Obviously, Tony Sperano, as I said in an earlier video, has run that before, and it was to some degree successful. As far as Tim Tebow, he talked about Mark Sanchez a number of times as he was asked a number of questions about Mark Sanchez, and he politely gave similar responses. How they have a great relationship, how they've already talked about this, how he looks to have fun with Mark Sanchez, he's looking forward to that. He said that they met at the ESPYs and at Super Bowls, and so I find that funny because Mark Sanchez is very Hollywood. Tim Tebow is obviously in the spotlight, so it's only fitting that two guys who are used to living in the limelight met in the limelight. Tim Tebow talked a lot about supporting each other in their roles, and that sounds like a guy who expects to have that role. That could change, so the words could simply mean we support each other in the roles we are in now, and if I'm the starting quarterback at some point, then maybe Mark Sanchez will support me. We'll see what that means. The words, I would love to be a Jet, I am thankful to be a Jet, I must have heard him say that about 5 or 6 times. Obviously very repetitive press conference. Tim Tebow's smart, he says the right thing. He's almost like a politician, except he doesn't say anything stupid. So, while Tim Tebow is pretty close to the vest about many things, obviously his religious beliefs are one of the reasons he's become a quote-unquote somewhat controversial figure in this country. Some people love him, some people hate him. And he was asked a question specifically about why he wasn't addressing his beliefs and his political beliefs at the press conference, and he had a great line. His quote was, "We're at a press conference for a football team." And you know what, he's right, because you don't see other athletes deal with this. Now yes, Tim Tebow is to blame for this, because if his religious beliefs weren't in the forefront, no one would be asking about him. There's plenty of athletes who are religious who don't get any questions ever asked about their religious beliefs because they don't go out and say it. They don't say, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ after every win. But they might be thinking it. And this isn't a judgment either way on Tim Tebow's religious beliefs. It doesn't bother me. But I can see why people are curious, and he's going to get a lot of questions continually about that in New York. And again, there are going to be some people who like it and some people who don't. It ruffles feathers. Tebow, as expected, was pretty gracious towards the Broncos, saying, I wish them nothing but the best. He also said something along the lines of how he wanted to see how the team would play next year. He was excited, and he was looking forward to playing them in the future. All in all, nothing earth-shattering, nothing life-changing. Tim Tebow, as I said, pretty much said the right thing to every question. But, you know, he did say one thing, and I know he said this before, but he talked about being a good role model, and character, integrity. Those were buzzwords he used over and over and over. And although they sound a little cliche, he actually believes in them. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that who he is who he wants to be, and he's not doing this as an act. I don't think this is something to get attention. The media has created this hype for him, and if he wasn't successful at different points of his football career, he wouldn't be on this platform. And he's used this platform for charities and to spread his religion and different things of that nature. Now, as far as a football player, Tim Tebow is a quirky one, and people are going to call him a gimmick. And maybe the Jets, for right now, will be using him as a gimmick. Do they have long-term plans to bring him in to compete with Sanchez for the starting job? I don't know. They handed Sanchez basically $20 million in the offseason to appease him so that he wouldn't be upset that the Jets were even looking into Peyton Manning, although who could really blame them? So, of course, it's fitting that the Jets tried to appease Sanchez by giving him money because they were looking at Peyton Manning, and then Manning goes to the Broncos, which makes Tim Tebow expendable, so Tebow ends up in Gotham. Kind of fitting, if you ask me. So we'll see how this works. Obviously, it's an interesting experiment. It will obviously garner a lot of attention throughout the season. It will be one of the storylines to look out for. But at the end of the day, Tebow is a backup quarterback, and he is running the Wildcat. You know, he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Peyton Manning. He's not even going to be Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn's going to get a chance to win that starting job in Seattle. Not so for Tebow. So again, we will see what happens. It will definitely be interesting to follow. My name is Scott Jacobs. You've been listening to Juiced Sports Radio. Is Tim Tebow a good fit in Gotham? How did the New York media treat him? And do you think questions about religion at a press conference are out of line?